Hi, I'm Cricket Pearl, and this is another quick JKD concepts video. I do these while I train at the dojo. This is part of my training, is not just the physical but the mental. You can't have the body without the mind, or the mind without the body. And this is part of my contemplation on the philosophy. So, let's get into what today's concept is: balance. And the bit we're going to go over may not seem like balance, but it's where my contemplations about balance sent me. And it's about intention versus expectations. So, to start with, we can't always be in combat with an opponent. If you're in perpetual combat with yourself, with another person, with something, whatever you're in combat with, then you're going to burn out. You're going to have to take a rest. You're going to have to take a break. And when you're in combat with an opponent, there is only the present. You don't care about the past, you don't care about the future, you just act. Well, that got me thinking, if there's balance, then what do we do when we're not in combat? If when we're in combat, we don't care about the past or the future, then do we care about the past or the future when we're not in combat? And that got me to think that how, we have to acknowledge that things happened. We have to acknowledge the past. But how do we acknowledge the past? How do we understand it? How do we use what happened in the past to help us in the future, when only the present matters? And that gets to the concept of expectations versus intention. When you're in expectation, you worry about the future, you reflect on the past, and it's really just a shit show where your worries about the future feed into the present, while at the same time your expectations of how the past should have gone feed into the future, and you're just frozen. You're frozen. Your mind freezes. Nothing goes anywhere. There's no flow. It's just a whirlpool eddy. It's what I call the shit show. It's just a bunch of fuck. So, intention. And intention is, there is no future, there is no past. There's not really even a present, maybe, if you think about it. I mean, there is your response to what happened. So there's responses. That would be the equivalent of the future, but it's responses. Then you have your experiences, which is the equivalent of the past. So what's the present? The present is, God, my ADD dyslexia just kicked in. The present is, this is my autism, this is my brain. I have a concussion from a car accident, and sometimes these words kind of escape me in the middle of things. It is, you're in the moment. It is, all right, the word I was looking for was relation. Oh, sometimes you just have to keep going. You have to figure out, you have to tap out for a second, gather yourself, and then jump right back in. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Winners never quit, quitters never win. I could have just aced out of this video, but I'm not going to do that. I had to look it up. I used no way as way, and I used no limitation as limitation. My limitation in that moment was I randomly forget words. I knew the concept, I couldn't find the word, and it's just a reality. So I used what I had at my disposal. I paused this and looked up and thought about it and jogged my memory and was like, oh, relation. So back to the conversation. So to summarize what we had talked about, so the future is responses, not a reaction but a response. The past is experiences, and the present is relation to the world, being the moonlight in the stream. There is no I. When there's an opening, I don't hit, it hits for me. So being in relation with the world is how we should think of the present. And so that's, kind of where we get into balance a little bit here, is when you're in combat, you're in relation with your opponent. When you're not in combat, you're in relation with the world. You're always in relation. There's no real, this is my combat readiness, this is my not, when Musashi says, have an everyday stance in combat and have a combat stance in everyday life. If you have to shift gears when you're in front of an opponent, you've already been hit and you're already down and you've already lost. If you see an opponent and you go, oh wait, I gotta get into this, you've already got cold cocked. You are already bloodied in the face, you're already doubled over, you've already lost your life. You've already put a hole in the wall. You've already done something or said something to your loved one or somebody that you care about that you can't take back. You've already lost your job. You've already ruined a relationship. You've already damaged something that you didn't mean to damage, unless you are in relation with the world at all times. And so your relation, the moonlight in the stream. I have a tattoo. Here, let me try to show it to you. There's my tattoo. This is my affirmation. You can see that it's a yin yang reflected. Well, my Jeet Kune Do is a reflection of the world, and the world is a reflection of my JKD. I am the moonlight in the stream. I am in relation with the world at all times. And so my experience, when something happens, I respond, and that response becomes an experience, and that experience feeds into my future responses. Now, this is where you get into using no way as way and having no limitation as limitation, and I like to say also having using all limitations as way and all ways as limitations. So you take your response, that turns into an experience. Well, that response showed you that you're not great at something. Like today when I was training, I realized my wrists are weak as fuck. I was hitting the heavy bag hard, and man, my wrists hurt because I don't have the muscles built up. I haven't been doing the exercises I need to do to strengthen my arms. I've been focusing strictly on my legs because I I qualify for double hip impingement. So I have double hip impingement. I qualify for double hip replacement. Also have rheumatoid arthritis in my lower back. I qualify for those medications that make you immune suppressed, but I don't take them. I consider myself a disabled athlete, and I go to the gym regularly, and I do a lot of kicks in the gym. I do a lot of kicks in martial arts. I do a lot of focusing on that because that loosens everything up, and I can walk without a cane. Sometimes, it's hard to walk sometimes. I'm essentially kind of walk like a Yoda. I pull Yodas off all the time. Like, I'm just like waddling, I can barely walk, and then, I take my fucking stance and I'm like, bah, 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 kicking and shit. And then I'm like, get back up and I'm waddling away again. But if I didn't work on that, I wouldn't be able to walk. And so that's, your limitations show you what to work on. And so I could have responded to it hurting by going, oh, I can't do this. Oh man, I could have gotten angry. I could just hit it harder to show myself that I can do this. Well, no, I was like, okay, shoot, is there a way am I hitting wrong? Am I doing this wrong? And I'm like, oh no, this just hurts. Oh wow, yeah, I don't have the strength to keep my wrists straight when I hit really hard, like really hard. I can hit light, I can hit straight on, but when I do like a side body blow, I just don't have that wrist strength. When I do like a straight shot, it's fine, it's different than when if I'm going like, this, I got to keep this going on. But if I'm doing this, it's just a little easier. So that experience now is showing me what I need to work on for the future, or what my next response is going to be. So my response to that experience is now that I'm going to start working out with my arms, do my wrist workouts, and really take that more seriously and start focusing on that. And that is flow. And that's just this circle. That's just a circle of, you got your being in relation with the world which feeds into a response, which feeds into an experience, which feeds into relation, and that's just a circle. Well, and that's being in intention. In expectation, you got your future feeding into your present, your past feeding into, and it's just a bunch of eddies, and it's just a shit show. And so if you're not in balance, then you're in expectation, and you're constantly just, things are fucked. And if you're in balance, then you respond to combat when it comes up. If you're not in combat, you're still you're still one with what's happening. You're still, you're the moonlight in the stream, and when something happens, when the bird flies over the water, well, when the bird's gone, there's no more bird reflecting. And we need to be like the moonlight in the stream. I hope this talk was helpful. It went a little bit long, but stay tuned for another Jeet Kune Do concept shorts, or not sure what to call it yet. But this is a part of what I call the School of Life's Intercepting Fist. It's my take on Bruce Lee's concepts, and it's really my Jeet Kune Do, and everybody's Jeet Kune Do is different. Everybody reaches Jeet Kune Do in their own way at their own time, and I believe that maybe no one else but Bruce Lee can ever reach Jeet Kune Do which is why I have, the way of life's intercepting fist instead of the way of the intercepting fist, because that's my Jeet Kune Do. But yeah, have a nice day, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye.